Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So just recently, it seems like all of the industry has lost their minds. Well, maybe not lost their minds, but they're all jumping on the same bandwagon. Now, I mentioned before in the video that I made concerning the beef between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj, I mentioned that I felt like a lot of this stuff was engineered because one thing that the industry knows, one thing that the people at the top knows, these people who want the average individuals to invest in whatever they're trying to put out, they know people like competition. They know, well, if we create two sides and say, hey, do you get behind this person or get behind that person? Create two clear contenders and create a competition about something, and people will divide themselves. They will support, they will flock to the toxicness, to the mess, to the dysfunction, to the fighting. I've said this before. Black versus white, conservative versus liberal, Democrat versus Republican, left versus right. Like, we just can't seem to help ourselves in division where everything, quite literally, is concerned, which is not a good thing, obviously. Now, some people will swear to high heaven that they don't believe that this stuff could be engineered. But there were people already saying before all these rap battles and all this feuding between artists came out that the industry was losing support, that the rap industry was losing support, was losing people's attention. So again, with knowing how to gain it back, it should be no surprise why all of a sudden people are fighting, they're feuding. They saw it work with one group, then they were like, hey, let's do that too. I got something I want to say too. And like I said before with that previous video, people should know that it all works to capture your attention, to monetize off of your attention. Now, recently, I'm not even going into the feud concerning those rappers with Drake. Like, there were artists that weren't even rappers that were jumping on, like I said, the bandwagon. But one of the most recent ones was the one between Quavo and Chris Brown. Another thing that I feel like these little feuds do is bring out the worst in people, bring out the crazy in people. And I'll talk about how they do that in a little bit. But the background allegedly behind that is basically they're fighting over each other's exes. I didn't said this before. It is absolutely ridiculous to still be concerned about what your ex whoever is doing. You're no longer involved with that person. If you still have that kind of mentality, then still clearly you feel a certain kind of way about that person. Either you don't want to let them go, you feel entitled to them, which is your pride. You need to let it go. You have a problem, you need to address that. Once you walk away, whether you were in the right or the wrong, you're no longer entitled to that person. What they're doing, who they're sleeping with, who they're in a relationship with should no longer be your concern. Now, I do understand that sometimes people will get with somebody's ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend to spite somebody else. But again, it's hard to be spited when you're mature and you're not worried about somebody who's no longer in your life, no longer involved with you. It started with Chris Brown whenever he was dating Karrueche, and their relationship came to an end. Quite frankly, not to keep bringing up his past, because this is his fault, this is what he did. That relationship came to an end, allegedly, because of him putting his hands on her. He had the woman that he claimed that he wanted so badly. He messed it up. She walked away. The only person he has to blame is himself. Of course, he could pick up the pieces and then move on with his life. There are too many women that he comes in contact with that surrounds him. Too many women that he can find who he has access to for him to be still worried about some other woman who he messed it up with. But anyways, she goes off and she was messing around for a short period of time, allegedly, with Quavo, and he didn't take that too kindly. Now, allegedly, there were some other things that happened between the two of them that also set this off. On top of that, he basically allegedly made it seem like he was messing around with Quavo's ex-sweetie. Now, what really happened between the two of them that had them fighting in an elevator, I'm not entirely sure, other than the allegations that she was messing around with Offset, allegedly while she was still with him, which was allegedly the reason why the group broke up to begin with, or that it broke into two parts out of three versus one part out of three, so to speak. They're going back and forward on these diss tracks. Chris Brown talking about how he's going to put hands allegedly on this dude, and that's a blatant threat. Once again, this is how crazy this stupid stuff has gotten. And they're over here calling these women the B word left and right. I don't care how normalized all culture has tried to make that, it will always be disrespectful. And for as far as I'm concerned, Karuchi was minding her own business until they woke this back up again. Unless I have it incorrect, Sweetie was minding her own business until they woke this up again. Now, if it's all true, what they're claiming she did, then she needs to take accountability for that. And now she's got to understand, because she chose to involve herself with two immature individuals, emotionally immature individuals. Now she's going to be the subject of a couple of diss tracks and songs for some time now. And once again, the lack of respect, calling them the B word in these songs, like they didn't decide to go and lay up with these women, get involved with these women, entertain their attention. Now, these women and regular women, that goes for them as well, don't understand by now that these industry men, these rappers, are not to be messed with. Because one, they're not out to put a ring on your finger. They're just there to hump, pump, and dump and move on to the next person. They're not here to be loving husbands that provide and protect. Like, if they don't know this by now, then I don't know what's going on upstairs. You know, the light bulb must be on, but nobody's home, so to speak. This is what you have to deal with, unfortunately, when you mess with certain people. But for some reason, a lot of them still keep messing with these same individuals. I guess they really do believe that any publicity is good publicity. Because even though they're being thrown around in these diss tracks, like I said, being disrespected really, they're getting publicity. Or they thought living the high life with these individuals was worth the risk of what's happening right now. Besides that, the other two things I wanted to point out with this situation that's really raggedy, let me state that first, especially considering the fact that these people are a lot of people's role models, and I put that in quotation marks. These are a lot of children's role models. People be actually looking up to these people and mimicking their behaviors and ideas. Like I said, they really took it a step too far with this beef. For one, Chris Brown out here allegedly talking about in his diss track how Quavo don't know him like that and he'll do X, Y, Z. But this will be the same Chris Brown along with his fans who'll get upset whenever people say we don't support him, we don't like him like that because he's violent, he's aggressive, not just to women, but to men too. And before anybody tries to say that goofy behind excuse of, oh, y'all are bringing up his past, it's not his past, it's his current, because he's been doing stuff like this. He has not really displayed any kind of changed behavior. It wasn't just too long last year, if I'm not mistaken, that he went upside somebody's head in the club with a bottle allegedly. And it was a man, by the way. Like I said, no evidence of real changed behavior while he's bragging in a diss track that he's taking shots at somebody else with about said unchanged behavior. And on top of that, he had the audacity to say that some people might wish that it was Quavo instead that was gone instead of Takeoff. I can't even begin to explain how absolutely disrespectful, disgusting, and morbid it was for him to say that. After all of the tears that were shed over that young man, for him to take it that low was just ridiculous. No consideration of how that young man's family might have felt about him saying that. And I don't want to hear any, oh, well, during a rap battle, they say some brutal things. Like the comedy that I've been saying that black people need to reevaluate. And what's funny, and it's all funny until people are fighting over what's said, we need to reevaluate battle rap. We need to reevaluate some of the stuff that people be saying in their diss tracks. Whether it's engineered or not, there are some things that are unacceptable to say concerning a person to a person. I don't care how you feel about them, it's unacceptable. And again, it speaks volumes to what people will tolerate. It speaks volumes to what people will support despite what's being shown, what's being displayed. What it takes, once again, for these celebrities to get people's attention to monetize off of. Moving right along anyways. So now you have Mean Girl number 1 throwing shade at Mean Girl number 2. Now, if you're a Swiftie fan, you should probably stop listening right now. I've already given you your warning. Now you are entering and treading at your own risk. These two really remind me of the girls from Mean Girls, the movie, the one with Lindsay Lohan. The actual Mean Girls going back and forth, fighting amongst each other over goofy mess. So allegedly this all blew up, really, because they took it all the way back to that one time years ago when Kanye West decided to write a song and he wanted to include Taylor Swift in it. Allegedly he called the woman, Kanye and Kim Kardashian recorded him calling her, which was actually, I think, technically illegal, so that I guess they could have some kind of proof to fall back on, of him asking her, hey, I want to use you in this song. And she was like, okay, well, let me hear the song. And he, rapped one literal bar of the song referring to her. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Sure, I don't mind. And then she alleged that both Kim and Kanye made sure that they were going to send her, I guess, some copy of the song, allegedly, the entire song, so she can hear the entire thing, because it's the entire thing, not just the bar that was going to get put out. And allegedly, according to Taylor Swift, they did not. And then they put out the song and once again referred to her with the B word, and she was not pleased with it. Now, y'all know I don't even like these celebrities, let alone Taylor Swift, although I can understand why she wouldn't want to be referred to as the B word in a song that she didn't know she was going to be referred to as the B word. That is what she's claiming. Now, some people say, oh, well, maybe he did tell her that, but again, I don't think she would have been okay with it if he would have told her that part. She's claiming that they left that part out. They did the video to try and prove that she was not being genuine about not knowing what was going to happen with the song, but that would still make them look bad because, once again, illegally recorded, allegedly. And if it's also true that they didn't tell her that they were going to be calling her the B word in that song and then just recorded that part to try and make themselves look like they did the right thing, once again, that only reflects badly back on them and makes them look worse. Especially after whenever she first came out about all of this and they put out that video, it made her look like she was lying. All them people who supported Kim Kardashian left all them snake emojis on her social media accounts. So once again, the weaponization of people, ignorant people, but see how quickly these celebrities will weaponize the people who follow them, how quickly people will be weaponized, all in the name of a celebrity. And y'all see why I call it idol worship now. This woman made her entire album a diss track to Kim Kardashian, calling her Kami, or whatever she called him, Amy, whatever it was. Talking about, oh, everything you did, it still propelled me anyways. And then said that, oh, your daughter was over here singing to my music that I actually made about you. Little did you know. I mean, there was no stone that she left unturned while doing this. Like I said, it looked very petty and immature to me, but whatever. And once again, this was another celebrity who brought somebody's family member into it to say something about somebody else's deceasement, if you will. This woman's whole mother, allegedly, was talking about how she wished that Kim Kardashian was deceased, no longer with us. Once again, despite how anybody feels about these people, it is very sick and morbid to wish that upon somebody. Once again, these are the kind of people that these celebrities are involved with, the kind of people they have around them, what they've got going on. I mean, really, like, her mother is too old to be involved in this kind of stupid foolery. I'm just saying. And then there were some people on Twitter pointing out some of these lyrics. And I've said this before. I take a look at some of these lyrics of the songs that these people be putting out, and it disgusts me. It really does. And it also disgusts me that people who call themselves Christians be actually listening to and buying this woman's lyrics. One Google search of the lyrics, and you'll know as a Christian, you should not be supporting somebody like Taylor Swift. You shouldn't be. And there were people pointing this out on Twitter, pointing out the lyrics, explaining how they're very blasphemous, disrespectful to Christians. And this ain't the first time she didn't put something out like that. Just disrespectful and ungodly in general. The amount of curse words that she uses to say that she is marketed to a very broad group of individuals, which include children who don't need to be hearing those kind of lyrics and being influenced by this level of pettiness and immaturity and disrespect. Like I said, the curse words, the blasphemy, the lack of respect when it comes to God and Christians, they're always throwing shade. It's ridiculous. And once again, the people who call themselves Christians who allow their children to listen to this music. But once again, it's all about the identification, how they identify or how they feel like they identify with this person, the competition of it all. One versus the other one. how she's attractive to a lot of people, how she's marketable to a lot of people. But people need to wake up and stop trying to identify with these people. Stop putting them on a pedestal because you like how their music sounds or you like the fact that they're a celebrity. I done said this 1,000 times. These people do not identify with the average people. They don't identify with their consumers. They are here to monetize off of everybody. They are in a class that they don't consider themselves equal to other individuals. They're in a different tax bracket. They don't even know these people who are supporting them and probably don't care about them either. But once again, these are the people that so many individuals are listening to. These are the people whose music they're buying. They're allowing their children to listen to. It's real bad when the parents don't have discernment. The people who God put in place to protect their children from making bad decisions, consuming negative, ungodly content. We're really in a messed up place in society, in the community, when the parents are exposing them to music, to people, to artists, to imagery, to lyrics that they should not be exposed to. Now, of course, whenever this person put this out, there was somebody who had their immediate, normal, go-to response that they love to put out there whenever somebody is confronting these celebrities about the stuff that they do, the music videos, the lyrics. They love to go to, well, it doesn't matter. They can do whatever they want to. And of course, they would say that, like I said, because our society, our community is very anti-God, anti-Christian, anti-the Bible. It's okay to disrespect God, but God forbid you disrespect any other community. That's going to be you up the creek. The usual response, oh, they can do what they want to. They don't need advice from you. Like, if you don't like it, then don't listen. To that, this particular person responded basically with, stop drinking the Kool-Aid, essentially. And that's basically what it is when you really think about it. How delusional some of these people are in their support of these celebrities. They will really go along with the flow of water, so to speak, like a salmon. Not knowing that same flow that they're going with in the stream, so to speak, I'm building an analogy, some imagery here, work with me. It's taking them right up the way to get snatched up by a grizzly bear and devoured. I guess the response to this grown individual that she said basically to grow up and stop drinking the Kool-Aid and get some wisdom, she took it as an insult. And I like how she responded here. It's not an insult, it's advice. You're a grown woman wigging out over a promiscuous perpetual teeny bopper who was mocking God and teaching kids to participate in promiscuity and witchcraft. Set your mind in things that matter, not this junk. And she said what she said, and I agree 100%. Everything that she said that this music and these celebrities are doing to the younger generation especially is exactly what they are doing. They are leading your children into some very dark places with the dark forces that they have tapped into in order to be able to use their music, do their music, write their songs, the stuff that they put out. And I'm glad that there are people who are taking a stand and trying to shine some kind of light on this, because otherwise you'll just have people going on thinking that this is normal. There were even adults, like I said, who felt like her music just got this way. No, it did not. Her music, along with all the other celebrities, did not get this way overnight. It's been this way. Maybe some of them kind of crept up to this point, but still, none of this happened overnight. It was pretty blatant, actually, and right in our faces, as it has been for quite some time now. People just don't want to listen. They don't want to admit to the person that they put on a pedestal. Once again, they've identified with who they like, who they lust after, who they think is attractive, whose music that they like to dance to and listen. May actually not be doing this for the right reasons. Might have bad motives. Might not be out to just put out good music, but to influence negativity. But it would take, once again, people being awake, actually paying attention. And it also leads back to having discernment, which you can only obtain from God, from the Holy Spirit. If you actually do what's right, you read your Bible, you have a relationship with God, and you cultivate that relationship, you grow that relationship, He will speak to you. It may not be audibly, but He will show you what to listen to, what not to listen to. It's up to you to actually listen. Now, if He tells you and you ignore Him and you do what you want to do, you can't be upset when you end up tricked or deluded by somebody that you eventually find out you weren't supposed to be listening to this entire time. Gotta learn how to pay attention. Gotta learn how to listen to what's right and heed the right thing to do. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, beautiful, and safe day.